This video is to install the Thunder Products belt adjustment and belt removal tool. These are the components that you should have got in the bag, which are the washer, the Allen wrench, and the adjuster itself, and the bolt for belt removal. And this is for the SR Viper. These are the tools you will need. Basically, you need an 8mm socket, a 14mm socket, and a socket wrench with extension. With the parking brake engaged and the panel set aside and the belt removed, you can now loosen up your secondary main bolt. This washer and this little aluminum sleeve you will not need anymore, but keep on the side in case you return it to stock. On the back side of your secondary, when you remove it, remove the 3 8mm bolts and the washers that are underneath the bolts. And you won't be using these anymore, but put in a bag with your other parts in case you want to bring it back to stock. And each bolt should have one washer on it. With the 3 bolts, the 8mm bolts removed with the washers, you can now put the secondary back on the machine and line up the lines. And then you can take your Thunder Products belt adjuster tool and just kind of slip it in like that and leave it loose. Remove the belt for the belt removal tool. And you want to make sure this is kind of backed off so that the shaft alone butts up inside. And then you can take your tool, your 14mm wrench, and you can tighten your secondary bolt. With the secondary bolt tight, the 14mm, you can remove this. This is your adjustment dial for your belt adjustment tool. And this hardened washer right here goes on, and just kind of leave it loose fitting right now. But when you put it on and you start putting pressure, you want to keep it centered over the secondary shaft, the steel shaft. So as you turn this in, it will push in on the helix, and there it goes. And what it'll do is that automatically centers itself on the steel shaft from the secondary. And what you want to do is you want to have the track off of the ground, and with your belt put back on and this adjustment tool, you want to check your ride height up at the top, which is usually just that it's over the top edge of the secondary if you're using like an 8DN belt, or get it to the point where it doesn't creep forward on you or turn the clutches as it's idling. When you have it adjusted with your belt, you take your Allen wrench supplied in the kit, and you can tighten this bolt and snug it down so it doesn't turn. And that's the way it is. That's how you use it. That's how your belt adjuster works. And this bolt, when you want to use the belt removal tool, that's what this is. You have the bolt, you put it, thread it through, and that's why the hardened washer, that pushes against, this threads up against that hardened washer, and it doesn't wreck your helix. And that's it. Belt back in place, everything's adjusted right. It doesn't squeal, it doesn't go on its own. and it's set pretty perfect. And right now there's just a tiny little bit above the secondary, so my belt tension is perfect right now. And that's about it. So happy trails, guys.